You're listening to For the Republic, a love letter to Star Wars animation.
But now we can talk about the Acolyte, and do not be surprised if the bulk of this episode is actually about this trailer, because we have a lot to talk about with Bad Batch, but I feel like we've just been so dominated by the Acolyte discussion this week that there's just so much to discuss.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to go off of first is it just looks freaking brilliant, man. Not only does it look wonderfully shot, and you can tell that the budget is there, but this cast is insane. The premise, we're all High Republic stands here, regardless of how behind we all are.
I am so close to finishing Cataclysm now.
I wish I could say that.
If it sticks the landing, it will.
I started the Rising Storm.
Yay! It will. If I finish Cataclysm, Cataclysm is if it sticks the landing in the third act, it will definitely rank as my favorite story of Phase 2 so far. Sorry, Battle of Jedi, you're taking it and knocked down to 5th place.
Because last time it was Battle of Jeddah bumped Mando off, so now it's that's.
I think Cataclysm might do it. I what can I say? I really like the ensemble thing, and Jedi Knight Gela Natai. She's awesome. I love her.
I don't know what that means, but
you'll learn soon, Andrew, who Gela Natai is. But yeah, I really loved this trailer. I thought it was, it was different from what we saw at Celebration, like the snippets and stuff, because we've all seen little leaked bits of footage from Celebration. But it looks really cool. Leslie, I've seen snippets, tiny pieces, but that's it. But you can feel I've only read smatterings of Legends, but I can feel that Leslie Headland is really bringing some influence of Legends stuff, as well as the High Republic feel to it. And as you said, that cast is just fantastic. I love seeing all these different actors get a crack at Star Wars. My favorite casting is by far Carrie-Anne Moss. I'm just so excited that she's playing
Dara.
Master Indara. You might hear more from her about her in a minute, but yeah, it feels very different, and that's one thing that's really awesome, is that it's a different kind of Star Wars story. We're getting kind of what seems like a murder mystery with Jedi being killed off one by one, and as you said, there's already been a discussion of because there was the thing that wasn't in the Celebration trailer, and that was the red blade flying into that hand and that shockwave knocking all those Jedi back, and that kind of raised the discussion point of does that mean any Jedi who encounters a red blade is going to meet their end? And it's while I get the line of thinking with that, I'm not actually sure that that's necessarily going to be the case, because as we have seen with the whole certain point of view thing with the Jedi, but also the kind of arrogance of the Jedi Order in the prequels.
Yeah,
it's very possible that
continue.
Oh no, I was going to say that it's very possible that there could be a Darksider who is encountered by the Jedi, and the Jedi Council, even though they are actually a Sith, the Jedi Council could just dismiss them as a pretender or just a mere Darksider, not a Sith, because the Jedi are known. Qui-Gon Jinn fought a guy who could not look more Sith in his appearance. He had Sith colors. Qui-Gon's no, yeah, he was literally dressed like a Sith, and the Jedi Council yeah, sure, bro, whatever.
People are bringing up, it's the show has been described by Leslie Headland and by the people working on the show, and I think by Lucasfilm too, as a mystery thriller. So we know that I would not be shocked at all if we see more and more as the show goes on that Jedi cast dwindling as they're taken out by the Darksiders. But there's been
Daphne Keane is okay.
I hope so. She's got a really cool design in the show, and the fact that she's half human and half help me out here, Don. What's the species? But
oh no, see my head, I have blanked on most of the cast. I only just remember Daphne Keene's name, and that
Daphne Keene's
twice
in it,
shame, but
she's going to be really cool. She was one of the 3 Black Series figures that I bought or pre-ordered earlier today, which if you're watching on video, this is a very fitting new name for the stream, because
I'm getting an
Yeah.
Asta and Dara Black series. I have to do that at some point.
It's coming. It wasn't one of the 3 I ordered at first, but I know I'm just gonna have to pace myself, and I'll just eventually get it.
We also got like a brief shot of Venestra Rowe, Rebecca Henderson, which is like, for like anyone who's like read at least the phase 1 books, or at least the middle grade books, it's just really cool that we're getting like an actual character from the books who's gonna like show up there. That's so cool. We've also got like Manny Jacinto.
Jacinto.
It's like, so like since we did our celebration episode like last year where we got the trailer, I have since seen The Good Place, and I can say that he is absolutely hilarious in that, and I am so happy that he's here.
I dropped off midway through the second season. I gotta finish it because I really like that
you
show.
Need to finish it. It's a hell of a show.
It's really good. I just like stopped for. That's what I do with most shows. Is I just
ending
stop
is
for
good.
no reason.
I like
you haven't even
ending.
got. That means you haven't got to Maya Rudolph yet. I don't think.
No,
have
I
you got to Maya Rudolph? She's hilarious.
I know. I definitely got to Tia Sakar, which was a jump scare. I was like, wait a minute, Sabine?
Brilliant. She's also in the After Party, which I highly recommend.
I hear that's really good too.
It's excellent. Ben Schwartz is brilliant in that, as is I forget the lead actor's name. I'm forgetting a bunch of names. I've got the cast on Wikipedia right now, so I remember people. But he's great, yeah.
But people, you brought up the arrogance of the Jedi during the prequels, and people are, for some reason, trying to make this a discussion to shit on the show, because people are the term I will use is grasping at straws to try to discredit this show. It's woke. Leslie Headland, there's people that don't know about Star Wars writing. What?
Meanwhile, the showrunner literally grew up reading Legends books. Yeah. She could not be more of a dyed-in-the-wool Star Wars
description
fan.
And her reason, because she did an interview, and her reasoning for why she had someone in the writer's room, she specifically chose someone that had never seen it, so she could have that one voice that was an outside, different perspective. And I think that's really smart if you're writing a show, because then you don't need to worry about just specifically going towards the, Star Wars is like this. But it's like, well, what if it's like this? And then you can get those fresh voices. And I think if you're having a writer's room where the point is to have multiple different voices in there, if they all sound the same, it could lead to it just not being that good of a product. So to just have something different is something I think the franchise needs. And I'm okay with, like, Tony Gilroy has gone out and said he doesn't like live and breathe this stuff. And then he made Andor. So like, come on, guys. I mean, he does. But he says he doesn't. But like we know he does. He
comes to Celebration at least. Yeah, exactly. But he comes to Celebration. And he put all those like lovely goodies in Stellan Skarsgård's shop. So but like I completely agree with you. I think it's an important thing. We've got to remember that, like, as much as these shows can appeal to us in many ways of like fan service and stuff like The Mandalorian and like Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, it's important to have different kind of voices in there, people who aren't quite as familiar with the Star Wars galaxy, but are familiar with like storytelling concepts and like story structure and how to tell a good story. That doesn't necessarily mean that like being a fan and being a good storyteller are like separate things. It's a spectrum of stuff for sure, but like it's good to have someone who can bring an outside perspective, because this, that way it will appeal to like all kinds of audiences. If you have different kinds of voices, it's just good, sensible like storytelling priorities.
Definitely. And I think the people that are like, oh well, this show retcons Ki-Adi-Mundi's line in the Phantom Menace if they know about the Sith, it's like, okay, one, they're obviously going to explain why, if they encounter the Sith and they realize it's a Sith, why that doesn't become public knowledge. Like, I feel like that would be one of the very first things they had a discussion of when they pitched this show was, well, wait a minute, hold on. And it's like, all right, well, that was probably day one shit. And two, I find this really funny that they're saying this now. And yes, I've always loved the prequels, but like 10 years ago, they would be like, oh, just retcon it all. Who cares? Like, they were the same people arguing like, oh yeah, Force Awakens erased the prequels.
And if we're talking retcons, like literally, I said this back when we did our discussions of Obi-Wan, when people were like throwing a bit of a fit over like Obi-Wan and Leia meeting. And I was like, the biggest reveal in Star Wars, like the most iconic movie twist of all time, was a retcon. It wasn't originally the plan for Darth Vader to be Luke's dad. It wasn't originally the plan for Leia to be Luke's sister. Those were both retcons, and the story adapted around that as a result. Most successive stories will retcon things. That is just tends to be kind of like how it works with these long-running stories that we see with Star Wars and Marvel and the like. And it's just irresponsible of people to kind of like just ignore this kind of stuff and be like, oh well, they're retconning it, that means it's bad. No.
Also, why are we gunning for Ki-Adi-Mundi, dude? He sucks. If he said anything, I'm not listening. The dude sucks.
What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Ki-Adi-Mundi is just the new guy that we're championing for.
If we ever do like it's a shame that guy didn't get Silas Carson to like reprise the role at the animated show, because then I could do a Clone Wars version of Who Watch and say that he was literally the voice of Satan.
He's literally oh jeez.
Yeah. Like, if you're going to watch a two-parter, Andrew, I recommend watching that two-part episode of Doctor Who, the Satan Pit story. It is great.
No.
How old is Ki-Adi-Mundi? How old is the dude boy?
I think he's born after this show. There was another Jedi Council member, though, who people were speculating about, and that was Plo Koon, because there was a young Keldor scene. Yeah, and I'm like, I'd be behind that. Cool. I could see Plo Koon like popping up in this show. That would be kind of cool.
Oh,
sure. Yeah, I was thinking like if Ki-Adi was even alive during the Acolyte, he would definitely lie about the Sith. Like, not
he's just the one that encounters the Sith, and he's like, it's not Sith.
No, I didn't see that.
No.
Yeah, it's like I didn't see anything. It was an orange blade. It wasn't red.
There's one character that needs to not bite it during the show at all, which is Kel Naka, the Wookiee Jedi.
Kel Naka.
Do not take him away from me.
Not to be confused with Buryaga.
Not to be confused with Buryaga. But it is Jonas Swatamo playing.
It is. I love
Wookiee,
that.
which is beautiful.
Lovely to see Eunice again.
To quickly jump back to Vern, I love that that's one of those things where like a non like Star Wars, like hardcore Star Wars fan sees it. It's like, oh, that's a cool like bald woman character, and then like THR Twitter's like, oh my god, Vernestro!
Yeah,
screaming. It's like, but I am very interested in seeing her in like a much later phase in her life.
Yeah.
And
she's definitely like a master at this point. She has
definitely.
Like, really nice
if these are like 100 years after phase 3, which
and she has like more tattoos.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
So like one, it's like the Mary Ellen lifespan is way longer than I thought, and two, it's like girlie's got to have some trauma. Like all of her friends, like she outlived them all. So
literally,
Imri,
like, everybody she knows is dead.
I know Imri. She outlived Imri. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's like 100 years old in this show, and he's just chilling, retired by the water.
Yeah, and while we're on it, I want to like point out. I'm sidestepping away from the pain there, Andrew. But while we're at it, I'd like to mention the fact that Leslie Headland confirmed that Venestra is going to be the only book character that appears in this season. And the reasoning she gave was very interesting, that she wants to save people for season 2, which is like...
Yeah, that's cool.
I love that this is going to be a multi-season show.
If we get an Avar Chris appearance in season 2, I'm gonna melt into a puddle on the floor and just I'm gonna be irretrievable.
What I want to see the most is Vern opening up like a holocron and it's Stellan.
Stellan.
Like, that's what I want to see.
Like the scene in Ahsoka with Anakin. Yeah.
I was gonna mention a scene from The Rising Storm, but Mo's literally reading it right now, so I'm not gonna bring that up.
Yeah, I am.
But
the funny thing about High Republic, a lot of it's been like spoiled because obviously it's been out for a while. Mm-hmm. But like, there's so many deaths that I don't remember exactly who died. So I'm reading The Rising Storm and I'm like, I don't really know.
Who's it?
I'm going in blind.
I'm pretty sure Alden like spoiled a phase 2 death for me when he was on for the Ahsoka chat that we did, and I can't even remember who he was talking about because there have been so many deaths
I'm like,
since
I
then.
don't even know who these people are.
Alden's guest spot is just retroactively getting worse with the spoilers. He ruined Survivor for me. He did this for THR Phase 2. It's just Alden Gate grows worse and worse.
Phase 3 happens like after phase 1. That's where
Yes.
So that's cool that like this is the only character that's going to be in the first season, and it's like second season. So maybe we get more phase 3 characters if like they introduce more people, or it's like because those books aren't out yet. We're not gonna put them.
We'll see.
But they'll be in the next
I want
season.
Porter Rangel, like played by Nick Offerman, to just show up.
I think everybody wants. He's like perfect.
I want him
the
to
blade of Bardoda.
Just be Ron Swanson, but just say it's Porter Rangel and just go with that.
And just cook really well, and then
yes,
it's fine.
I'm a smashing cook.
Oh my god,
exactly.
Perfect. But we need to pivot and talk about Amanda Stenberg for a second.
I was just waiting for that.
I'm already obsessed. The costume design, first of all, it's incredible. Like their look is so cool. May is already like, I can already tell like I'm gonna eat this character up. And just the fact that we know that they're a former Padawan and now they're like a Jedi assassin, which is really sick.
I watched the trailer
worried.
Like, the first like 5 times I watched the trailer, I wasn't even really paying attention to anything else. I was just like, wow, they look great.
Donna, I gotta be honest with you. I'm very worried that Carrie Ann Moss is gonna play like she's in the very first episode and then just gets killed, and then that's like the big thing that sets up.
I mean, someone pointed out that that's her lightsaber on the teaser poster, so that's worrying. I mean, we are probably it's a High Republic. It's an adaptation of the High Republic. We're gonna get some dead Jedi. That's like we're getting pain.
Yeah.
So like I'm stealing myself, but it is just still really cool to see like all these different people. And as you said, Amanda Stenberg, they look fantastic. They've got a really cool kind of vibe going on. I noticed some like similarities to that like early concept art of Darth Maul with the Phantom Menace, which it makes sense that there's also kind of a Phantom Menace vibe in some parts of this series, which is just really cool. And
I mean, I think that's kind of intentional. The fact that this is the
transition
the transition period. That's the next thing. The fact that they're pairing up Acolyte footage with the Phantom Menace re-release. And the fact that the show drops on the year of the 25th anniversary of the film, it's everything. It's like poetry. It rhymes. But then also, I mean, this cast is just stacked. And I mean, Lee Jung-jae, I can't wait. Like, perfect casting for a Jedi Master.
Yeah.
The fact that this is his first English-speaking role, too.
I know. It was honestly weird.
You wouldn't know.
No.
Yeah, no, he does great.
He does great here.
And he did the Obi-Wan line too, like your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them, which is it's very interesting that they chose that line for the trailer, given that Amanda Stenberg is playing his former Padawan, because it kind of
I'm thinking those are flashbacks. Because he has nice white robes, and then they go to like ugly prequel robes.
He's got the High Republic drip, and then they kind of start to transition to the muddier prequel robes, really. Which I mean, I like the main cloak. I mean, I don't know. I'm biased towards the prequel robes because Obi-Wan wore them well, but I maybe get why
Obi-Wan wore everything well. Yeah,
Ewan McGregor could wear a trash bag and he'd look great. So but they definitely like it definitely has like hints of High Republic in those robes. We can see how they're easily going to transition to like the prequel ones, which is cool. I like that.
Yeah, no, I like that too very much. I'm also gonna like mention very briefly about, because if we're talking like, I have to shout out Abigail Thorne, Philosophy Tube, who is making her debut in Star Wars. That's just really cool. It's just as people who are active on YouTube, I just think it's awesome that like someone in our field, in a sense, is like making a jump to there. A very popular person for sure, but it's like really awesome that they've got such a varied cast of people. I mean,
are they playing a major role, or is it going to be like Christina Ariel, like in Kenobi?
they've not said. I think. Well, they announced it very like they've announced it like immediately after the trailer dropped. So I'm guessing it's a decent supporting role. If we're talking like brief cameos in the show, I want a cameo from Natasha Lyonne just because it's Leslie Headland's show. I'd love
That'd be
Natasha
great.
Lyonne to like pop up as like a contact, a smuggler contact of like Manny Jacinto's, and she's just like a badass.
I could see her being like a smuggler or like someone who's like running a shop in a marketplace.
I want Yaddle.
Yes,
that's the role she is.
We need a Yaddle appearance with Bryce Dallas Howard doing the voice, and we need. I mean, I'd be very shocked if there's not even a cameo from Yoda and Yariel Poof.
I can see Yoda being like a tease at the end of the season, then him being like a bigger player in season 2. Leslie Headland, though, like I feel like she like. I feel like if we don't get a Yariel Poof cameo just in the background, like it's something's not right there. Like it feels like she would make sure that that's in there. So
I want her to give Yariel Poof the most like surprising voice ever. Like he has a voice that comes out that's like completely antithetical to what you think he would sound like. Like he opens his mouth and it's Keanu Reeves.
That'd be great.
Well, aren't there rumors about Keanu being in this?
Keanu has been rumored for like pretty much every Star Wars project. People keep insisting that he's going to be.
My one friend was like, "Oh, I think that Keanu is the Sith at the end of the trailer." I'm like, "Well, that would be sweet, but like,
that'd be cool."
I don't remember hearing that. Well, I guess, Don, do you have any guesses? I mean, it could just be May, but like, do you have any guesses of?
I think
like,
that's
is Plagueis a possibility at this point, or is that too early in the timeline?
Plagueis, I think, is a possibility, but he would be a teenager. I watched Alex from Star Wars Explained did a video speculating about it, and he basically said like that Plagueis would be a teenager around this time, so it's possible, I think.
Could be the master.
And that's what I mean. I think given the way this shot is staged and the very impressive shockwave pushing all the Jedi back, this is a Sith master. This is a very experienced Darksider we're dealing with. So I don't think it'll be May. Because it is May, I think all likelihood is that May is the Acolyte. I think we're probably going to get a twist by the end of the first episode that they know more about it than they're letting on. Like that May is actually sort of a double agent, because that's kind of the vibe that the show has been kind of giving off. Like, sorry if I spoil this twist for everyone in advance, but we are speculating. But like,
well, a lot of the summaries say that like her and Soul are going to be working together, right?
Or at
least that they're brought back together like through this.
Oh man, I wanted her to stay bad.
I mean, she probably will. I don't know.
She's probably going to go bad. There is that mystery figure like on the rocks that she's
that's who I was like.
And there's also Jodie Turner-Smith's character who's just leading a mysterious group of witches, which like I'm glad they're witches because they were giving me Path of the Open Hand vibes, and I'm like,
that's what people have been saying. They're only in phase 2, right?
Yeah,
like,
I hope there's no connection. I hate the Path of the Open Hand with a passion.
Don does not like the Path of the Open Hand. Don does not like Markian Rowe, and Don does not like the Path of the Open Hand.
Markian Rowe is a bastard, and the Path of the Open Hand, they are the worst. Like I legitimately like they are great villains in the story, but like they're a force cult that is basically going around gaslighting the Jedi, saying, "Oh, it's really bad that you do the Force," and then they go and do some of the stuff they do in the books, and it's like Andrew with Andrew with a certain lizard.
No. We're not talking. Save it for the Bad Batch.
we all thought that Fennec was talking to Ventress at the end of that episode, but she was talking to Sid.
Give me. That would just make our bookings retroactively awful if it turns out to be.
I am joking, Star Wars. Please don't punish me for my joke and actually put Sid in the next episode.
It's happening now. You've ruined it.
Oh no! I manifested Sid accidentally into season 3.
But we have the final shot of all the lightsabers igniting at once.
Great.
It's sick. Shout out to who's what's the other the one Jedi with the really cool hair? What's his name? With
Charlie
the yellow
Garnett's
saber.
I was
character.
in it.
Yeah.
Return,
I don't know his character's name.
who worked with Leslie Headland on Russian Doll.
Russian
really
Doll.
good actor. Love that he's here playing a
He
Jedi
was in,
Knight.
I just love the fact we're getting
Season
more
2 of You.
yellow
He's great.
sabers in live action.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah,
there was only
it's-
like 2 blue sabers, which is crazy.
Mhm.
Because blue is
No.
always like the common one. So it was nice
Yeah,
to see
like-
gold and some green.
I know, like I love blue. Blue is my favorite color, and I'll always be happy to see a blue saber. But I'm really glad that we're getting more colors. I love seeing the variety here.
I gotta look through the Black Series figs and just remind myself of what everyone's saber color is. Because I know Daphne Keene has the green saber. And then, okay, so Soul has a blue one.
Yeah, he's the one blue.
Checks out.
He's the one blue.
Checks out.
Yeah, and then I think Indara has a green one as well.
Yeah,
So-
she seems
Yeah.
like she would have.
As long as we get more purple sabers, I'm okay with it. There were none in the trailer that I saw, but
I think they're
We gotta
gonna
get
wait
one.
for Vern to bust that out.
yeah, the light whip. I can't wait till people that haven't read the books are like, "Oh my god, they're ruining a whip."
Yeah, like
I was literally thinking that. I was like, oh my
Yeah.
god, they're gonna
It's-
hate that.
It's like the people that like acted like when Obi-Wan came out that it was the first time they heard about the helicopters blades, and it's like, this is stupid. And it's like,
I love
dude,
the helicopter blades.
my favorite thing
I love
is
that
like
shit.
is how every like couple years the dominant opinion changes on whether or not they like Rebels or not. Because I remember like when I did a TikTok trend like 2 years ago, it was like Clone Wars versus Rebels, and I was like, "Oh my god, Rebels is trash, bro! How did you not pick Clone Wars for every single category?" And then like when Ahsoka came out, it's like, "Oh my god, Rebels is the best thing ever, bro!" It's like, make up your mind. What is going on here?
Well, the
Either way,
Acolyte will come out, and then everyone will be like,
the
"Oh,
Acolyte will
Phantom
come
Menace
out.
is great."
yeah.
everyone will be like
nowhere.
worshipping. Everyone will be worshipping at the altar of the Acolyte for sure.
Oh, I mean, they should. This looks freaking fantastic. So
looks
I'm
so cool.
very excited for it. And the way I know, and yes, it's like it got review bombed and there was the dislikes, but the way I know that the overall dominant opinion is really, really strong about this trailer is one, it broke the viewing record, which you don't really do unless you get more outside interference or outside viewership. And two, I have people that are more lapsed Star Wars fans that message me like, "Dude, the Acolyte looks really cool." And I'm like, all right, that's all you need. So I'm so excited for this. This feels like a show that I'm shocked it took them this long to make. It's just a show with a bunch of Jedi in a different time period. You have this dark side mystery. It just, if it's not great, I will be very, very shocked. Just because I completely trust Leslie Headland. I think this cast is insane. Getting to see the High Republic at this time period is very intriguing to me as we really get closer and closer to the prequel era. And yeah, I just was very impressed with what we saw, and I
think
cannot wait for June.
Honestly, every interview of Leslie, it's just like she's like, I read so much. I love Star Wars. It's like great, perfect.
That's what you need.
I love Leslie Headland's passion for like Star Wars and the material, and that's why I'm so the way she talks about it and the influences she kind of like brings, and the fact that I already know that she has like the like real like acumen as a storyteller after watching Russian Doll and just seeing how well directed that was and how well written it was, because she was a co-writer on that as well. I'm just so hyped for this show. Like like Bad Batch and this were like equally hyped because I got really into season 2 and like I was really excited to see where they were going, and like but I'm so excited for the Acolyte. Like the Acolyte, it's the most different kind of Star Wars show we have had since Andor, for sure. And I'm just I can't say enough good things about how hyped I am for it. Really,
I remember when I think it was like D23 when they announced in like 19 like all the shows they were gonna do, and I remember seeing Andor and I was like, obviously, and just the Acolyte, I was like, ooh,
like,
having no information, I was like, ooh, that sounds cool.
I think a lot of people were like, "Ooh, the Acolyte!
Okay.
What is that?"
Yeah,
wasn't expecting that.
I want more shows like this. So I hope this show does gangbusters. So we get more
and
stuff
I'm
like
happy
this.
that we already have confirmation of another season.
Yeah,
That's fun.
no, and
Yeah,
we're
I
getting
thought it was
another
just for one
2-episode
season.
premiere. So there we
Very
go.
I wish they were. Well, I haven't seen it, but I already wish they were longer episodes. Like I was
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
more like 40 minutes, but 30. We'll see. You never
Yeah,
know. They
like,
could utilize the time crazy.
Give us
so.
the Andor
Yeah.
length. But
Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Maybe it's like Gennady Tarkovsky's Clone Wars, and like every minute counts with that. Like it's just like pure adrenaline shot of High Republic prequely goodness into
Yeah,
our
that's what I'm
veins.
thinking. Like they're just not going to waste a minute. Like everything's
I'm
going
just
to have.
very excited to see just a completely different aesthetic on screen for the Jedi Order.
Yeah,
I think
and all of
just
the Force Foo stuff as well, like the martial arts stuff. I love that there's like
Oh,
martial
yeah.
arts influences, like that shot when May like flips around with the kick, Lee Jun Jae's character, and he blocks it with his hand, and just like there's that look of recognition. That's so cool. I love it. Fantastic.
Did they always say that Manny Jacinto was going to be a smuggler, or was that recently?
That was recently. I didn't know what role he had. I assumed
I
he
was
was a
kind of
Jedi.
bummed. Unless he's like a smuggler that like kicks ass, because he's like super into martial arts. So I thought he was gonna be like a Jedi or something.
I think Daphne Keane said he does a lot. I think she said he
I
is like
remember-
stunt master.
I remember that
So
during
he's gonna.
Celebration.
I think he's gonna do a lot of like maybe he'll
Huh.
do even like there'll be some kind of Jackie Chan's kind of stuff where he's the underdog in the fight and he's got to like outsmart the opponent. But I could see him being kind of a kick-ass smuggler, very kind of like Han
Yeah.
Solo if he knew kung fu.
that
That'd be
you
great.
sold me right there. Like that's all you need to say is Han Solo if he knew kung
Yeah.
fu. And I'm
If-
like,
honestly,
all right,
if he just has like a staff or something, I'm sold.
Like if they
he
pair
just
him
wanna
up with
see him, like, kick
Kelnaka, if they pair him up with Kelnaka, you'll know that he's meant to be the Han Solo of the show for sure because he has a Wookiee pal.
I mean, if he just starts
That's
pulling out like
true.
Shirt Imwe moves, I'll be like, all right, this guy
Yeah,
this guy
That's what I'm
gets it.
saying.
Your
Like,
foot all
give
right?
him a staff. Give him a staff,
Give him a
and
staff.
we're good.
No, nothing ever goes wrong when you give someone a staff in Star Wars. It just
Literally.
instantly makes characters better. So yeah, no, the Acolyte, it looks awesome. And June, is it June 2nd? I have literally Wikipedia pulled up right now. Yeah, June 4th.
June 8th, 4th.
June 4th.
June the
Two-episode
4th
premiere.
be with you.
It's gonna be sick, and I cannot wait. And that means we'll just have another show to discuss, so it'll be fun.